I'm Kathleen Bradley with Kathy Bradley and the Angels. And welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Today is January 11th, 2021. So it's all about New Year, New You. And I know a lot of us are taking a big sigh after last year, 2020. And very often we've gotten to this point where it's like, oh, thank God we have a new year. And then this new year is kind of started with a lot of challenges for each one of us. And so if I were to say to you that this year is, yes, it's going to be different than last year, but it's going to continue to be noisy and disruptive. Now, when I say that, does that bring up some anxiety and some tension and maybe some anger or sadness within you? Just notice what you notice. Okay. And if I could give you some tools to utilize to shift you out of that place of fear and where you're feeling tension and anxiety and not knowing what's going to happen, into a space of feeling calm and peaceful and centered, you'd want to know about it, wouldn't you? Great. So the reason why I asked that question is this is exactly what I want to share with you today. The outside world is getting noisier, and it's going to continue to be disruptive. And that's okay, because when you realize that you don't have to be entangled out there in all the noise and all of the drama that's going on, when you learn these set of tools that I'm going to share with you today. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is being in the space of the present moment. So very often we find ourselves moving back into the past of our shoulda, coulda, wouldas, or we move into the future and we're in that place of worry. What's going to happen? What do I do? I don't know what to do. And we go into that doubt and worry. However, all we really have is this present moment. This present moment brings us to our I am presence. The other place of going back into the past or moving out into the future are kind of illusions, because really when you tap into it, you have a present moment, and then you have another present moment, and then another present moment. So what we want to do is bring ourselves into the present moment consciously. And one of the best ways to do that is with your breath. Now, a lot of people overlook this because they think, oh, the breath, what's so important about the breath? Well, the breath is your gift of life. And if you notice right now, if you want to put one hand on your heart and one hand on your solar plexus, your belly, notice how you're breathing. Typically, when we're tense or filled with any anxiety or sadness, we either are very shallow breathers, or we might even hold our breath, right? If you're nervous or you're mad, you might just hold it. So the first thing that I want to share, which is going to bring you into the present moment, which is your connection with your I am presence, it's the breath. So I always like to simplify things. I think the ego is the one that likes to complicate everything and make it harder. So if you notice as we're going through these things today, just notice when we're sharing something or doing something, how it feels in your body. And if your mind starts questioning or saying, this is too simple, this won't work, notice that. That's the ego. Edge God out ego. So the first thing we're going to do is, I call it the 3 circular breaths. Okay. And so if you'd like to, you could even breathe your eyes closed. And if you'd like to, place your hand on your heart and one on your solar plexus. All we're going to do is simply breathe in and exhale. Breathe in and exhale. The third one, breathing in and exhaling. Now I'm going to ask you at this point, without opening your eyes, if you did close your eyes, just notice what you notice. Do you feel calmer, more balanced, and centered? If you had any thoughts that came up, you can just let them go and then say, thank you very much. I'll connect with you later. So breathing in and exhaling. And I'm going to ask you to breathe your eyes open, but stay in this space of feeling calm and centered and balanced. And notice if you see a shift in your body. Maybe your shoulders have dropped down a little bit. Maybe if you were feeling any angst in your stomach, it just kind of releases. So I'd like to recommend with that breath, it brings you into your I am presence, which connects you with source so that you can come into this calm, centered space. And so what we do is we do that 3 circular breaths. And the reason why we do 3, it's easy to count to. You don't get lost. And am I up to 6 or is this 9? So very often you would do 3. And then if you want to do another 3, you could do that. But it really makes a huge difference. I do it on a daily basis. I'd highly recommend that you wake up in the morning and before you get out of bed, before you start moving around, even before you go to the bathroom, do those 3 circular breaths because that's connecting you with your presence, as we've said, and that's where you bring that calm and that balance. And then from that place, then you can move on in a calm, centered, peaceful place to say, okay, how would I like to create my day? Very often I notice people are unconscious of being unconscious. Now, what do I mean by that? It's kind of like we're in this boat and without having any direction or any goals or anything set in place, we just allow ourselves to get moved around by the water or the turbulence that's coming about us because we haven't set our attention on our intention. So one of the ways that we do that is with our words. Our words are really, really powerful. And I don't think we realize the importance that they carry. One of the things I'd like to share is about how we tend to focus on what we don't want rather than what we do want. Very often when I ask someone, what is your intention for this session or for this day, they can tell me what they don't want. Or I'm tired, I'm stuck, I'm frazzled, I'm confused, I'm tired, or it could be I'm sad or angry. So they can tell me what they don't want because that's what they have. But what's going on when we keep focusing on what we don't want, we keep recreating this and we create this cycle. The other thing that happens very often is we take our cue from the outside circumstances. So as I mentioned before, there's a lot of disruption, there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of drama. And that actually affects our nervous system. So if we can learn to bring ourselves into that peaceful state with our breathing, and then from that moment, connect with our thoughts and our feelings. So I'm gonna give you another little tool that you can work with. And a lot of these tools are in that space of imagination. So it's where no thought is thought, and it's where we're open to all of the possibilities from the universe. So if you like to, you could breathe your eyes closed if you want. You don't have to, whatever feels right for you. But I'm going to bring you into a little short meditation. And again, this is a tool that you can use. That's simple, that you can use on a daily basis. Okay? So starting off with those nice 3 gentle breaths, breathing in and exhaling, breathing in and exhaling. And the third one, breathing in and exhaling. So I'd like to bring you on a little journey. If you could bring yourself back to a time when you felt really happy. Perhaps you were with some really good friends, having a nice meal, sharing some jokes. Or maybe you were at the beach, taking a nice long walk, feeling the sunshine, allowing the sun to warm your soul, feeling the fresh air upon your skin. Breathing in that beautiful fresh air, the salt air. Maybe you hear some seagulls calling out. Just connect with a memory that you have where you felt happy and light. Just notice what you notice and how it feels in your body. I feel so happy right now. So just allow that happiness to be filling your heart up, your body, your mind, your soul. And notice how it feels. Feels happy, feels exciting. And what I'd like to do is take you to the next step. So moving from the past, allowing the memory, whether it was being at that beautiful dinner with your friends or family, or at the beach or anywhere else that you had this envision, allow yourself to let that slip away and bring yourself into this present moment, continuing to feel happy. Maybe your shoulders drop a little bit. Maybe you feel like doing a little dance. Feel into the happy in this present moment. If a smile comes across your face, that's totally fine. And so now I'm going to ask you to stay in that space of feeling happy. And you can breathe your eyes open while still feeling happy. Beautiful. How does that feel in your body? What words would you describe? Maybe there's a lightness or an expansiveness that you feel. So what we just did is we took a memory and then we let go of the memory, but we held on to the feelings in this present moment. Could you feel that? I'm going to check to see if anybody has questions on that. Okay. If anyone has any questions or they want to say how they feel, now's a good time. So we each are given free will. We have the will in every present moment to decide, do I want to be happy or would I like to be sad? And we don't even realize that we have that ability. But God, or universe, who loves us unconditionally, does not judge what we want to bring into our environment. Whatever we focus on, whatever we put our attention on, it's kind of like we're this magnet. Whatever we put out, we bring in. And one of the things I want to share with you, it's really cool. It's this book, and it's by Dr. Emoto, and it's The Miracle of Water. And what Dr. Emoto did is he was a Japanese scientist, and he worked with water, and he took water and he put it in different jars, and he created this experiment. And on each jar, he put different words on them. So, for example, on one, he might have put peace, on another one, love, another one, happiness, another one, balance. He also put one for sadness and another one for hate. The amazing thing is, each word, they froze these jars of water, and in each jar, they took a microscope and they took pictures, and they each formed different crystals. Amazing, right? So I have some pictures of different crystals that he has, and this one is love and for humanity. Look at that beautiful crystal that formed. And as another example, this one is harmony. So why is this important? These are just some examples of the crystals that formed on these jars of ice, water. The reason why we're bringing this up is our body. What is our body made up of? 75, 80% water? So words have power. Whatever we're thinking, whatever we're feeling, that's what we're creating. So unbeknownst to many of us, we don't realize the importance of how we speak to ourselves and how we share that with others, with our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions. As I mentioned before, very often we tend to focus on what we don't want. And unfortunately, what we keep creating is what we don't want. Now, everybody wants to move out of that, don't they? Of course. We just haven't been given the tools to work with. So there is some assembly required. So one of the things I love working with is sacred geometry. And the triangle has 3 sides. They're all equal. And so if we were to work with 3 energies that you're having a challenge with, and we can play with this, and if anyone has any ones that they would like to work with, put your hand up or let me know. And that will bring you in and we'll discuss that. But I'll give you some examples from my experience and the experience of other people that I work with, that some of the common, and they're typically limiting, lack-filled beliefs. So where did these lack-filled, limiting beliefs come from? Most often they come from family, church, could be the priest, it could be your parents, it could be your friends. And basically it waters down to, I'm not good enough. In whatever belief system you have, I'm not smart enough, pretty enough, fast enough, intelligent enough. It's whatever it is enough. I'm not enough. Is basically what it comes down to. Now, this is an illusion because we are all divine. So when we let go of I'm not good enough in whatever form that takes, and we move into I am enough or I am divine, we're letting go of those lack-filled limiting beliefs, and we're moving into what we want to experience. So here we are in the beginning of January. So if we were feeling lack in the place of I am tense, or I am stressed out, or I am sad, or I am angry, or I am stuck. I'm having come through too. A lot of people are feeling stuck. I don't know what to do next. What's the future hold? So when we go into those places, that's what we're drawing to us. So that's the reason why we want to have the awareness of where our lack-filled limiting beliefs are. A lot of people say, well, I don't want to know that. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to focus on it. If you don't have the awareness, you can't make the change, right? So one of the great comments is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. by Einstein, right? So what we want to do is we want to make a new change. We want to make a shift. So moving out of, let's pick 3. I am stressed, I am confused, I am sad. As your triangle. Okay, so what we want to do is address what we need to work on. So we'll play with that. So moving out of that, we would create these new energetic frequencies with the words, because as I mentioned, the words have energy. So we'll move into, I am certain, I am confident, I am happy. How does that feel? Let's breathe into that. I am certain, I am confident, I am happy. See how that feels in your body and how expansive that feels compared to the contraction of I'm confused, I don't know, I'm in fear, or I'm sad. Notice the difference in your body. And when you feel good, that means you're in alignment with your truth. So the first thing that we'd like to do is do the breathing in the morning, those 3 circular breaths. And then the next thing is putting your attention on your intention. How would you like to experience yourself? So imagine creating that beautiful triangle. And you can bring it into your sacred heart. We're in that place of imagination. And you can use the essence of the words. I am happy. I am calm. I am centered. And you'd begin your day from this space. And then during the day, from time to time, you'd go into your breathing and you'd remind yourself, I am calm, I am centered, I am happy. And then again at night, before you go to sleep, you'd set this anchoring intention. Because right before we go to sleep, what are we doing? We're going to marinate in those thoughts for 6-8 hours, however long you sleep. So you want to make it calm, peaceful, balanced, whatever you want to bring into your life, happy, joyful. So you set the intention for yourself again. And this is a new habit that you want to create for yourself. And it's really simple and easy, and it doesn't take long time. The reason why I do that is because I want you to take this new habit into your daily life. And if it's too cumbersome and too complicated, typically it's not really good for you, right? We want to do simple. Simplify, simplify, simplify. So if you were to do this 3 to 5 times a week, and notice a shift. The other thing that I always recommend is having a journal. And I always carry mine with me. I put all my notes in there. So it could be something like this composition book. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. And what you become aware of is, where are you looking to have a shift? Do you notice that you're angry? Is this something that you want to work on? And then when you have that awareness, then you can shift with your words, your thoughts, and your feelings to create that new environment for yourself. How does that feel for everybody? Any questions as we're going along? Okay. The last thing that I'd like to share today is creating an environment for ourselves. We are easily affected by other people's energies. Have you ever noticed when you go into a store, or it could be the post office, it could be anywhere, and you may not know someone, and yet you're aware of their energy? And sometimes it may not feel so good, right? Other times it may be feeling beautiful. The challenge is we don't want to be affected by other people's energies. But most of us aren't even aware that that's happening, other than we may think, well, gee, I don't know why I feel sad. And it could be after you've talked to someone that could be a lifelong friend, but every time you get off the phone with them, you think, I don't really feel very good after talking to them. I feel anxious, I feel sad, could bring up a lot of emotions. So what you want to do is you want to create this environment for yourself, because you are responsible for you, and you are not responsible for anybody else. And I'm even including kids, family. They each are responsible for themselves. Yes, you can give them tools, you can give them help and aid, and yet realize that they are responsible for their energetic frequency. And everything is energy. Our thoughts are electrical, and our emotions are magnetic. So we want to make sure, kind of like a refrigerator or anything else, it doesn't burn out. It needs to be grounded. So one of the things we want to do is create that delineation point. So if you'd like to right now, imagine creating a rose. It could be a red rose. And if you want to breathe your eyes closed to create this, that's great. Now imagine holding the rose with your right hand if you're right-handed. If you're left-handed, that's fine, whatever works for you. Now imagine bringing this rose 360 degrees around you. And now imagine bringing the rose above your head, about 2 feet. And now imagine bringing that rose below your feet, about 2 feet. You've created this environment for yourself. It's like a bubble. Can you feel that? And so now everything on the inside of the rose, inside of the bubble, is your energy. It's your thoughts, it's your feelings, it's how you feel about yourself. It's about how you feel about humanity or whatever is going on. Everything on the other side of the rose is Shakespeare's theater for your enjoyment. This is really powerful, because what it does is it sets that delineation point so that you don't have to be affected by all of the noise and all of the drama that's going on out there. So very often we think when we're in that place of imagination, it's not real. And one of the ways that you can test this to see that you've really set this bubble up for yourself is it's kinesiology. And if you put one finger like this, and then you interlock them, you can ask yourself, is this real? Right? And if it's real, it won't pull apart. But if it isn't real, it pulls apart. So you could test this on yourself. Another point, you can do that with, is my name, and then you'd fill in your name. Is my name Kathleen Bradley? And I can't pull it apart, right? Because that truly is my name. If I say my name is Sarah Bernhardt. So that's a way for you to check the kinesiology, to check and make sure that what you're setting this in place. And I'll give you an example. So one time I was in Hawaii, and I was with, they called themselves kahunas, and they would deal with a lot of people and with a lot of different energies. And I said, well, how do you do this with so many people and not get affected by all the different energies that are out there? And he goes, oh, well, I have my bubble of protection up. And I said, oh, I do that as well. Yes, I do that. And he said, do you? And I said, yeah, mine is up, but I still feel the effects of dealing with other people. So he had me put my arm out, and he said, okay, tell me you have your bubble up. And I said, okay. So when he did that, he was able to push my arm down. He goes, you don't really have that intention, that focus, that it's really up. So then he said, okay, now really refocus it and say it again, and have that intention, creating that bubble for yourself. And when he did that again, he couldn't push my arm down. So I wanted to share that experience with you, because it really is true. What we really focus on, what we really believe, we create. And if we think, well, this isn't really working, I don't believe this, guess what? It won't work. And so this is really an important tool that you can use so that you're not adversely affected by other people. And if you were to look at a picture, I don't know if any of you have ever seen a picture of someone's auric field. It kind of goes out and it has colors and layers, and it looks like an egg. It may have different colors, even if you wanted to Google this later, auric fields, A-U-R-I-C, auric fields. And you would see they have different layers because we have an emotional body, we have a mental body, we have a spiritual body, and we have this physical body. So what this beautiful rose does for us is it creates this delineation point between myself and all of the other people out there so that I don't have to be adversely affected by it. Now, I'm going to say something. To use it on a daily basis, in other words, when you wake up in the morning, I'm kind of giving you a little 1, 2, 3 of powerful tools that you can work with, beginning with the breath work, following with your intentions, right? You're putting your attention on your intention. And the third step is setting up the rose so that you have that clear delineation point so that you're not adversely affected by other people. When we do this, we are not in the place of judgment. We are in the place of allowing everyone to be experiencing things for themselves of how they choose. We are choosing for ourselves what we want to experience by setting up that delineation point. Can you see the difference? If you think of it like, I need protection, you're in that place of fear. What I'm talking about is being in that place of love, and it's just being responsible for every thought that you think and every feeling that you have, every action that you take, and not taking any responsibility on that belongs to somebody else. That's their free will. That's their gift. So these are beautiful tools that you can use to create a happy, calm, centered environment for yourself. Now, this rose is a magical rose. If you were to meet someone and let's say that they said something like, you're such an idiot. I can't believe you did that. And it really is bothering you. Since this rose is a magical rose, you can work with this rose because you created the rose, didn't you? So now you can give the rose the command to take what someone said to you, you're a silly idiot or whatever it may be, and you give the rose the command to take that energy into the rose, and then you give the rose the command to explode back to them in neutral. What you're doing is you're neutralizing that energy. And when you're in that place of neutrality, that in essence is love. So you're gifting them by dispersing and neutralizing what they had said to you. So it no longer is in your energy field, and you're actually helping them because you're deleting it, so to speak. Now you can do this. And I always say to do it on a daily basis when it doesn't matter. Say you're going food shopping, you set this up and you notice yourself and notice if anything occurs during the day where you could see how the rose worked and see how it helped you. Maybe if you were driving, you could put it around your car and you could see maybe someone did something that wasn't kind. You could utilize that rose and play with it, because the more that we do these things, the easier they become. You're creating new habits for yourself. So that's a beautiful way to do it. And this helps you because when all of a sudden someone very close to you says something that hurts you, really hurts you to the core, and you want to use the rose, if you haven't been using it, you really are not sure how it works. And you don't have that belief system that it does work. However, if you've been playing with it and you're using it, and you can see how it's come into your life and how it's released these energies, the lower energies that no longer serve you, you have experienced it. You know, time and time again, when there was no stress, there was no, I have to get this right, or how do I do this? It's not when it's that monumental. So that's one of the reasons why I say to do it on a daily basis. Because again, you're creating a new habit, a new pattern that helps you. And you can also do it for yourself. Very often we say things that we wish we could take back. Maybe you said something hurtful to someone and you didn't even mean it, or you start thinking about it and thought, well, that could be hurting them. You can bring this rose and you can utilize it. And this is how. So you created that rose, you're in that environment, and you give the rose the command to take the energy from what you said. So maybe you said, shut up, or whatever it was that you said that was not kind, was not nice. And you give the rose the command to take that. And then you give the rose the command to explode back to you in neutral, in a million little pieces filled with light and love. And so what you're doing is now you're noticing a clean slate for yourself and very often the other people, because everything is energy. We can feel it. We can feel when someone's not happy. So now you're becoming responsible for yourself in this new year, new you, in creating a sovereignty for yourself and how you want to experience yourself, and so that you're not affected by other people. How does that sound? Simple, and sometimes not so easy, because we do need to take some assembly. We do need to look at ourselves. We do need to have these awarenesses. And very often we'd prefer to be distracted. There's so many distractions out there. It could be the drama that's going on. That's a distraction. It could be the family. It could be the job. It could even be technology. Anytime that you find, rather than wanting to work on yourself or to have awarenesses on yourself, when you see that you're drawn into different distractions, notice it. Notice it, notice it, and choose. Choose to work on yourself and make yourself a priority. Because again, you have free will and only you can change. So beautiful. So thank you all so very much for coming. I want to ask if you have questions or comments that you'd like to share with us. And I'd also like to mention that I believe that is going to put the website, which is Kathy Bradley and the Angels. If you'd like to go on there, you could subscribe to a newsletter, or I'm giving a free book, free ebook. Messages are everywhere. And if you'd like to receive that, feel free. And I'd like to hear if you have any questions or responses or anything that you'd like to know about anything that we shared today.
I think I just put it in the chat. I don't know if everyone sees it, but it should be clickable. I just want to jump in and say that. Sorry.
Oh, don't be sorry. No one else is jumping in, I don't think. Let's see. Yeah, you did put it in. I see it. It's in the chat.
There is a message. I don't know if you see it, Kathy. If not, I can read it.
Sure.
Do you see it, or do you want me to read it?
Do you need to push your stomach out as you breathe in?
Yes.
Okay. So when you breathe in, it expands. And when you exhale, the belly goes in. So breathing in, it just expands with the breath, and exhaling, it goes in. Does that answer the question? Beautiful. Yeah, the breath work is the key, Because again, that brings us into the present moment where no thought is thought. And that's where you're in that place where you can open up and make the connection with your higher self. And so I'd recommend everyone, as they awaken, to do the 3 circular breaths. And then if they want to do 3 more, that's great. It's just simple to do the 3. Follow that with your attention on your intention with 3 words. And one important thing that I want to bring up is when I brought up the words, we do it in an I am. I am capable. I am certain. I am confident. I am calm. I am happy. It's I am. I am that I am. So these are really powerful words that people very often are not paying attention to. And I'm going to use myself as one last example of focusing on what I didn't want, and I didn't even realize it. So a few years back, I knew I wanted to get a car. I wanted a Chrysler 300, and I had one, and I wanted another one. And as I was going there, I thought, well, I just don't want a black car. I just don't want a black car because it gets hot in the summer, and it's steamy, and I just don't like that. So I kept focusing on what I didn't want. As I'm driving home and into my driveway, guess what I got? I bought a black Chrysler 300. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this. How crazy is this? That here I am teaching people and sharing with people, pointing people in, how to bring into your life what you do want. And I was so focused on what I did not want. And that is exactly what I got. Not really that bad, but that's just an example.
Interesting.
That's an example of how we do this.
Kathy, it looks like we do have a hand up. I don't know if it's by accident or not, but no, I think it's real. So, and you're unmuted, so you're fine.
Kathy, I had a question. This is Bridget. When you talk about the bubble, you talk about things not coming in, but I presume it's porous outward.
Pardon me?
It's porous outward, that your energy can move out of the bubble.
Well, really what you want that delineation point between you and them, because what happens is it's like everyone's energy starts muddling together and then it's muddy and you don't know where your delineation, where your energy ends and where theirs begins. So that's why I started talking about our auric field and how you could see that picture and it's defined. And when we're really in our I am presence and we're really in that place of love, it grows and it expands out. So our auric field is bigger. So in a sense, it gets bigger, but it's not really going in. Hopefully, we want to keep that delineation point so that it's not muddled with other people's energies.
I see. Thank you.
That's a good question. Thank you. Yeah. It's really powerful. And the more that you use these things, they're new habits. So it's a perfect time to move out of the limiting, lack-filled beliefs that we have and create with the new. Create, and they're simple. They may not, and the reason why I say they're simple, because they are simple, and they may not be easy, because what do? We tend to go back in what we know. Even if we know that it's not for our highest interest, it's familiar. So the reason why we want to do it on, 3-5 times as many days as you can per week, so that this becomes your new pattern. This becomes your new habit. It's kind of like if you're always driving down the path, you create these roots, right? And that is what we do with our habits. And we'd like to create with the new habits, with the empowering habits, realizing that you do have power and you have the power in the present moment to move out of sad to happy when we stop taking our cue from our outside circumstances. That's one of the biggest things. This distraction, we keep getting sucked in and pulled back out into all of the dramas that are going on. And when we do that, we really don't have any power over what's going on out there, but we do have power what's going on in our environment, in that bubble. So in this environment, how do you want to experience yourself in this day? And it can vary. So in certain days, I might be, I am confident, I am certain, I am commanding. Another day it might be, I am peaceful, I am calm, I am centered. And it's interesting, I've noticed when I play with the words, with the triangles, where I place them seems to make a difference, even though they're the same dimensional, 3 equal sides. It's interesting. So if I were put, I am love, I am happy, I am peaceful. Feel into that energy. And now let's shift those words around and make peaceful. I am peaceful on the base. I am love. I am happy. You notice a difference? It's fun to play with. It's fun to have our awarenesses and knowing that this is how things are created. With every thought that we think, with every feeling that we have, we are this magnet. And it's kind of like we're putting out these radars saying, I am happy, I am calm, I am centered, or I am stuck, I am frazzled, I am tense. And then whatever we're putting out, it's electromagnetic. It comes back. So that's why you want to put your attention on your intention. Because whatever you're putting out, that's what you're getting back. Whatever you're thinking, that's where you are. Well, last thing I want to share is from Wayne Dyer. I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with Wayne. I love Wayne. And very often he kind of comes through and I feel like he taps me on the shoulder and he likes to share his messages. And this is a card from Wayne Dyer. And it's talking about release others' expectations. If you focus on what others expect of you, you'll continue to act on and attract more of what they desire for you. But when you can shift your inner thought to what you intend to create and attract into your life, you will no longer have to give mental energy to what others want for you. This is really powerful because I have found very often the things that I were doing were based on what other people were telling me to do. And sometimes they're well-intentioned and sometimes not. Everyone is unique and we all have divine, unique gifts. So what is right for someone else, even though it may be well-intentioned, it may not be right for you. And that's why you want to connect with your inner breath, your I am presence. And you can ask yourself, what would you like to share with me in this now moment? And then connect with that for a few minutes and see what comes through. You could do that as a journaling exercise. What would you like to share with me from source, from your higher self? And then you can write it out, whatever comes to you. Don't edit it, don't judge it. If you're in that place of imagination, fantastic. Isn't that where all things are invented? It's that place of imagination of what isn't here yet. So it's a beautiful space. Give yourself that gift of going within this year. Rather than taking your cue from outside people and circumstances, go within to your heart where there's love and there's light. And that will be your point of attention. And that will create more love and more light. And then you'll be this beautiful, radiant pillar of light. And as you do this, you'll see a lot of people are attracted to you. They don't even know why. They just know when they're with you. When we do get to that point of getting together with other people again, they want to be with you. It's amazing. They don't know why. All of a sudden they're attracted to you And children are really funny. They're like, they're like, okay, I want to hang out with you. Children are very open, right? They haven't put up a lot of the walls.
Well, we'll all be very prepared once we get back together.
Yes, yes.
And people coming to us.
Exactly. And so in closing, just giving yourself this opportunity, you know, when we started, we said, wow, you know, here we are, we're all hunkered down. We're not able to go out. We're not able to be with other people. Actually, this is an amazing time. It's divine orchestration for each one of us to have this time to go within, to not get frazzled with doing a million things. I mean, the holiday season this year was so different. Yeah, we may have felt a sadness. We weren't with loved ones. And yet it gave us the opportunity where we didn't have to run around so much, didn't it? And so here we are in 2021. Take this opportunity to go within and to start doing those 3 breaths, which is really a form of meditation. It's just really short and simple. It's where no thought is thought. You're just in the breath. And if a thought comes, you allow it to go. You'll deal with it after you're done with your breaths. So thank you all so much for coming and sharing your love and your light and your gifts. Everybody, the Heavenly Realm is happy to have you here. And wishing you all the best.
Kathy.
You're welcome.
Always such a pleasure. And actually, on Zoom, I get to hear you. I usually am running back to the office when you come to the library. So we were saying earlier, with all of the programs, generally, we didn't have to always stay. You know, we would get everything set up, run back to the office, run back. But it's interesting now how many programs we've been able to actually participate in.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, another benefit for us, because we've really been able to learn, for those of us working in programs, we've been amazed at the programs. Wow, they really are good.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, you know, it's funny because I remember at the end, you know, you hear the people coming out and you try to get a pulse on how was it good? You know, you want to come back. Here you are.
I was like, oh, how was it? Yeah, it's very different because we're actually present now for the programs, which is kind of nice.
Right. Yeah, so you get to benefit. Isn't that a beautiful experience for you? Yeah, wonderful. Well, thank you all so very much. If anyone has any last opportunity for any questions or any response or sharings, I'm here. If not, I thank you.
I don't know if you have any, someone had a nice message, I think was meant for you, said that young people need your message, which I thought was very, very true and very, very beautiful. I think it came to me by mistake.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I don't see that. Yeah. I said, thank you, Kathy. You're welcome. Thank you for coming. Yeah. So this is important for each one of us to live our best life and to be happy. That's what we want to do, is be happy. And music and nature are beautiful things that we can do for ourselves to bring ourselves back into that centered, calm place. Yeah. I just thought of that song, Happy.
Oh, yes, that's right.
I love that song.
That is a great song. And it does instantly make you happy. I think you're right about music.
It really does. Yeah, music, reading, anything enjoyable, funny. I love watching funny shows. So even if it's going back to I Love Lucy or anything that raises your vibrational frequency, that's what you want to do for yourself. And sometimes it's hard to find. You might want to even write a little list for yourself, like 3 things. I mentioned this to my sister the other day. I said, well, if you could just write 3 things down for yourself when you feel that you're moving out from that balanced, centered place, or you're moving out into, you know, a sad place or a mad place, what 3 things can you turn to that will immediately bring you back out of it? And I always find nature is one of them, music's another, and it could be a good book, or it could be a good movie, or a good show, or a good laugh with someone. So have that for yourself, so that you don't get down, because it's continual kind of steps. We don't go from here to here, right? We do it incrementally. So you want to watch yourself and have that awareness. Whoops, I'm moving out. what do I want to do for myself to bring my vibrational frequency back into a balanced space? So something I didn't know I was going to share, but here we go.
Thank you so much, Kathy.
Well, thank you all so much for coming.